Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to today's LLM Insights, which is brought to you by the University of San Diego School of Law. Now, they're going to be talking you through the next 30 minutes. They're going to be talking LLM programs from business and cooperative law to international law to online opportunities as well. Before we go any further, a reminder, today is a live session. If you have any questions at all, please put it in the Q&A or the chat facility in Zoom. If you are watching on Zoom, the plugin is now in, so there will be many of you watching on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn as well. Please put your questions in the message facility, not on the post, because we won't see it. So message facility and not on the post, and I will pick that up or endeavor to pick that up anyway. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Robin. Robin is the Associate Director, Graduate of International Programs at the School of Law, and we'll see you soon for the Q&A. Over to you, Robin.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today from wherever you are. As Gareth mentioned, I'm the Associate Director here at Graduate and International Programs at USD School of Law. And I've been here 9 years now. This summer marked my 9-year anniversary. And I also recently started teaching in one of our LLM programs. So perhaps if I don't see you as an admissions assistant, I will see you in the classroom at some point, perhaps. So I just wanted to start today with a few fun facts about USD. As you can see on the screen, hopefully, we are situated right on the Pacific coast next to San Diego and Mission Bay, which you can see in the background with campus in the foreground here. So we are strategically located on the Pacific Rim, as well as being a neighbor to Mexico, which is about 30 minutes to our south. So it's a great location for anybody seeking a really diverse and vibrant environment, but still with more of a small town feel of a community. So we have everything that a big city has to offer, with lots of good opportunities for bonding and getting to know the city very well, because it's easy to get around. So our campus is centrally located in San Diego. And I like to think of us as about 10 minutes from everywhere fun and important in the city of San Diego. So it's very easy to access. This year, we're celebrating our 75th anniversary at the university and 70 years at the law school. So it's a big milestone year for us. We are a private Catholic university, so we're not part of the state university systems that you may have heard of, like Cal State or UC system. We have a population of around 9,000 students. Then that includes our undergraduates and graduates. So we're a smaller to medium-sized campus. And the School of Law has been around since 1954, so hence our 70th anniversary. Each year, we educate about 800, close to 900 JD students, as well as graduate students in LLM programs. And on this slide near the bottom, you can see some of our LLM program offerings. So in addition to the JD, we have a variety of LLM programs. There are 5 offered on campus and 2 offered online. So the one that we'll focus on today is called the LLM in US Law program, because that would apply to most folks here in the audience, I imagine. And it's for anybody who's been educated and done their law school outside of the US. Whereas our other LLM programs are designed for people who have an American JD law degree. Maybe with the exception of LLM in Spanish, which is in the middle of the list there. It's also called the Maestria, and that is an online program for our Spanish-speaking students who did their law degree somewhere outside the US as well. Okay, so next I'd like to just take us through our roadmap or agenda for today's talk. So we will begin by looking at which program might be the best one for you, including the degree requirements, whether it's campus or online program. And then take a look at the different ways you can shape your curriculum. So some students choose to take a wide variety of classes. Others prefer to focus on a specific concentration area. And an increasing number are interested in taking bar exam subjects because they would like to sit for the California bar, maybe the New York bar exam, or some other state's bar exam. So we will look at bar exam eligibility as well, because that's a common question that I hear from a lot of prospective LLM students. And then we'll wrap it up with employment options for our international LLM students and application and funding issues, like the timing of your application, what goes into the application package, as well as scholarships and other forms of funding. Okay, so that's where we're going to go. So let's head into our LLM program choices and take a look at some degree requirements. But first, I would like to show you the outside of the law school building. It is Warren Hall. So we're located kind of centrally in the middle of campus. We're close to the University Center, within walking distance of many of our athletics facilities and many other key hubs on campus. So it's a really good location. And as you'll see here, we offer both campus version and online versions of the LLM in US law. Okay, so let's first focus on those who would like to get the campus experience and come to San Diego. The degree requirements for this campus LLM in US law program requires that you complete 25 credits minimum. There are some students who might end up taking a few extra credits, which we can talk about during your academic advising appointments. But the academic rules require you to complete 25, and you must finish with a cumulative GPA of at least 2.0, which is a C average for those of you used to the letter graded system. And there are only 2 required courses in the campus program. So Intro to US Law or Introduction to US Law, which is one that I teach in the online program, and that's 2 credits. And then Legal Writing and Research, which is another 2 credits. So these are foundational courses. All of our LLM and US law students take it together during their first semester. And then that's it. They have electives. So 21 elective credits to use after the required courses are done. You should take at least 1 more advanced writing course. So it can be any of our law courses that have a writing requirement, usually a research paper. So that can be in your area of interest or choice. And then some people, like I mentioned, like to have a very diverse curriculum and take a variety of subjects. But quite often, students will be interested in pursuing a concentration or maybe taking bar exam subjects. And you really have to kind of choose one path or the other. It's almost impossible to do a concentration and squeeze in bar exam subjects that would help you prepare adequately. So let's just take a quick look at our concentrations available in our campus program. And as Gareth mentioned, I think some of these business and corporate law is a really popular one that you can pursue. We have 6 altogether. So we also offer criminal law, environmental and energy law, IP or intellectual property, international law, and taxation. So it's not required that you pursue a concentration, but these 6 kind of represent the most popular areas that students like to focus on when they do a concentration. So you do not need to declare a concentration at the beginning of your program. You can just start taking courses that are in these areas of interest. And when you're in your final semester of the program, we'll take a look, have you list the courses that you've taken or are taking in this area, and then determine if you would qualify for a concentration. So how do you do that? Well, basically, you just need to take at least 10 of your program credits in one of those areas of concentration. So if you're interested in business and corporate law, for example, at least 10 of your program credits should be business and corporate law courses. And you can determine which courses count for particular concentrations by looking at the course descriptions, which are published on our website. And then if you do earn a concentration, in addition to your LLM diploma, you get a separate certificate of concentration in that area. And we would also note the concentration on your official transcript. So if you would like to show off or demonstrate that you have focused on a particular area, maybe an employer would be interested to see that, you can show that with your certificate of concentration or your transcript notation. Okay, so that's one popular choice that students pursue is an optional concentration. On the online program, tiny bit different. It's governed by the same academic rules, but instead of 25 program credits, there are only 24 required. And you still need to finish with at least a 2.0 cumulative GPA. So that's the same. There are courses that kick off in the summer. So this one offers summer admission only, whereas the campus program, we have both fall and spring admission. So in the summer, you would be taking Introduction to US Law, which is 2 credits, and that's the same course that we talked about for the campus program. And then Professional Responsibility is also taught in the summer. Legal Writing and Research comes a tiny bit later in the fall, followed with or combined with evidence, civil procedure, and contracts. And sometimes these courses may be switched up just a bit, but as you'll see, we're really focusing on doctrinal courses and those tested on state bar exams. And in the spring, for example, coming up in spring of 2025, we'll be offering torts, property, criminal law, and constitutional law. So as you can see, the main difference between our online LLM and US program and our campus one is 24 versus 25 credits. And then this one, the online program is set with the curriculum. So all students take the same subjects and they focus on really bar exam subjects. Whereas in the campus program, you had a choice to have a really flexible curriculum, right? With concentrations, maybe you want to take bar exam subjects, maybe you don't. Whereas the online has this set curriculum. Okay, so this program launched this summer in English, and we also had the same version of this in Spanish, which launched last summer in summer of 2023. So that one's coming up on its second year right now. Okay, I think we are ready to start diving into the bar exam because it's like I said, it's a popular question. In the past few years, I've seen an increased interest in students who would like to sit for the bar exam. California tends to be their number one choice or most popular interest, followed by New York. We have had students also sit for the Texas State Bar, the Illinois Bar, Maryland, a few other jurisdictions. So just here I put the subjects that are tested, the California bar exam and the New York bar exam. So I'll just leave those up for a moment. You can see there's quite a bit of overlap, but there are a few unique subjects in each state. And so in our LLM programs, you would be able to prepare to take either of these programs. Okay, and that's a view in San Diego in the La Jolla area that you see there, the beautiful sunset. Actually, some students sitting there. We got the photo when they were out enjoying the beach and the sunset. Okay, so let's get into bar exam eligibility. As a general matter first, you should note that the US states and also the District of Columbia or DC, they each have their own bar jurisdiction, so their own rules for admission and eligibility to take the bar exam. The majority of US states allow LLM graduates to sit for the bar exam, but not all 50 of them, but most do. And I'm happy to share a link or with the presentation that Gareth will post later, where you can find kind of a quick breakdown of which states accept international applicants and which do not for their bar exams. Just a note here for New York, if you're thinking about taking the New York bar, they do require the LLM program that you take to be an on-campus program. So it has to be in person. They will not accept online LLM coursework. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. California, your LLM courses can be the campus version or the online version. So New York has this caveat here, campus programs only. And if you are an LLM student, you know, you only have 24 to 25 credits that you'll be taking. So you can't possibly take all of the subjects tested on the bar exam, but you can take a good handful, I would say about 5 to 6 subjects, depending on which program that you are taking, campus or online. Okay. A JD program is the traditional professional law program where students have 88 credits to complete and they're here for 3 years. And so they do take all of the subjects tested on the bar exam. But for LLMs, maybe about 5 or 6 you can take. All right, now a little bit more I think I have for California and New York to give you some more background here. There is a helpful, I guess, somewhat helpful website from the California State Bar Office. The first link is mentioned here. And if you were to Google, you know, California State Bar foreign educated attorneys, you would find this page. You have to read it a few times usually to kind of get the flow of what they're talking about, but it boils down to 2 different categories of applicants. So first we have attorneys who are admitted to the active practice of law in another country. So you're a member of your bar, for example, in the UK, or a member of the bar in Brazil, or whatever the case may be. In that case, the California State Bar Office would likely say that you do not need any particular legal education here in the US. You don't need to do a JD program. You don't need to do an LLM program, although it's probably still recommended that you take some courses so that you're better prepared for the exam. but no additional legal education is technically required for those folks. Versus law graduates who are not yet admitted to the active practice of law. So let's say you have your professional law degree, but you're not yet a member of the bar. So you don't have a certificate of good standing that you could produce. For those students, and that's most of our students in our program, I would say, they need to do at least 1 year of law study here in the US at an ABA or American Bar Association approved school, and USD is accredited by the ABA. You would need to take a minimum of 20 LLM credits. So our programs offer 24 to 25, so you're covered there. And for California, remember the program can be a campus LLM program or an online LLM program. So we offer both options. And finally, recent change this summer for the California bar exam. They used to require a minimum of 4 bar exam subjects, including professional responsibility. They just changed it. So now the only required one is technically professional responsibility. They still recommend that the international graduate take at least 3 other bar subjects if they can, but it's not required anymore. It's just recommended. So for purposes of academic planning, we would still advise our students, go ahead and take as many bar exam subjects as you can, whether it's 4, whether it's 5 or 6, because that will help you better prepare. Okay, so that is bar exam eligibility for California in a nutshell. Now let's take a look at New York. For most internationally educated lawyers, attorneys, law graduates, your LLM program that you do in the US has to be in person. It cannot be online. And it should include the following factors. First of all, at least 2 credits in a professional responsibility course, at least 2 credits of legal research and writing, at least 2 credits in what they call American law. So something like our version, our US intro to US law would fulfill that. And then finally, at least 6 more credits in any of the subjects tested on the New York bar exam. So I've listed them there below, again, for your reference. So you would need to take 6, maybe more, of any of those subjects, whether it's evidence or contracts or torts, okay? So that sums up the basic requirements for New York. So the main caveat is don't do an online LLM program and then hope to sit for the New York bar. You really have to do a campus program. Okay. Next, let's see. Oh, employment options, another good topic. Get lots of great questions from prospective students here. They want to know, can I work when I'm there as a student, an international student? And what other things can I do besides traditional paid work? And then what are my options after I graduate? So that's what I've summarized here. First of all, the on-campus employment, that is automatically allowed for all international F1 visa students. So probably most applicants in the audience today would be coming here with an F1 student visa. Not everybody. Sometimes we have dual citizens, permanent residents, or people who are here with a different visa category attending our programs. But let's say you are an F1 visa student and you want to work. Well, you can do that on campus, automatically allowed up to 20 hours per week. So I've abbreviated that in point 1, 20 HPW, which is hours per week. And that's when school is in session. They want you to focus on your studies first and foremost and not working a 40-hour week. But during official school breaks and holidays, you can actually work more hours, and it can be up to 40 hours per week. As I mentioned, there's no special permission needed, so you do not need to apply with the immigration authorities for this type of on-campus employment. Okay, so that can be a nice supplement to your income and just a way to get some practical experience as well. In addition to the paid experience, you can take one of our many legal clinics that we offer at the law school. So LLM students find some of them really enticing and take them for academic credit. For example, our immigration law clinic is really popular. Some of our tax clinics, public interest clinic, a women's rights clinic, housing rights clinic. So there are many, many areas. I think we have about 14 different legal clinics that you can choose from. And as an LLM student, you can take those for academic credit. So although you're not getting paid, you can receive up to 6 clinic credits as an LLM student and apply that towards your degree. Okay, so that's something you would talk about with your academic advisor if you're interested in taking a legal clinic. And then finally, some options available after your degree is completed. So let's say you're ready to graduate, you hope to stay in the US a little bit longer and get some paid work experience. Well, you can do that as an F1 visa student. There is something called optional practical training, or OPT, and this allows the graduate to stay for up to 1 additional year after graduation and work. And the job must be related to something in the law or the legal field, because that was your area of study. It doesn't need to be a particular area of law, but it does have to be law related. And so it might be with a government agency, it could be with a private law firm, community service organization, educational institution, something that relates to law. And it can be part-time or full-time employment, and even a combination of different jobs. You might have more than one OPT employment. The main point is that you don't want to have too much time unemployed with no job. So the regulations allow you to have up to 90 days maximum of unemployment. So if you don't have a job offer right away at the time of your graduation, that's okay. You can still be approved for OPT, but hopefully you will find some type of OPT job within that 90-day window. Okay, because if a student did not find any work at all within the 90 days, they would have to depart the US at that point. But I can't think of any students who weren't able to find something that fulfilled OPT and got them working within that 90-day window. And some graduates already have a job offer before they graduate or soon after graduation. We do participate in LLM interview fairs on both coasts, so the East Coast and West Coast. NYU, New York University, hosts one usually every January or February, and we are part of that consortium of law schools. So our students are invited to participate in those interviews, and there are international and national employers there who are interested in the talents that our LLM graduates bring to the table. And also in Los Angeles, we participate in an LLM interview fair, and that's hosted by UCLA. They're one of our West Coast consortium partners, and our students are also allowed to and encouraged to participate in that fair. So not every law school in the country offers these to students. You have to be part of the consortium. So we're very happy to belong to both sides of the US on both coasts. Finally, for post-degree employment, you get support from our Career Services Office here at USD. They're obviously there to help our JD students as well, but they are also there for LLM students. And so they can help you with a job search, especially for your post-degree OPT options. They can also look at your resume and maybe suggest ways to tweak it a little bit to bring it in line more with a US standard of what a resume would look like or contain. For example, many of us probably have a CV that's more than 1 page, maybe 3 pages, 4 pages. But here in the US, it's best to reduce that to 1 page if possible. That's what employers like to see. So that would be something our Career Services Office could help you do. They can also review cover letters that you would like to attach to job applications. They used to, I'm not sure if they still do, provide free business cards showing that you're a USD graduate. I can check and see if that's still available. And finally, they can help you with mock interviews to help you better prepare for any interviews that you do have coming up. Okay. So again, just different ways that you might gain practical experience here as an F1 student, whether it's on campus getting paid, or whether you're taking a legal clinic, or if you're looking ahead to your post-degree employment options with OPT. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. You will be getting these slides, so don't worry about furiously taking notes or trying to remember everything. You will be provided with this. I think just to wrap up, we will look at our application process and the timeline. If you're thinking about applying for the LLM in US law program, whether it's online or in person, campus students, as I mentioned, can begin their program in the fall or the spring semester. And here the fall semester is already kicked off. We just finished our 2nd week of classes. We're into our 3rd week. So we start in mid-August. And then in the spring, classes start shortly after the New Year holiday, so in early January. So a fall student would basically go from mid-August and they would be done and graduate in mid-May of the following year, whereas a spring student starting in early January would graduate in December of that same year. Okay, so it's meant to be a year-long program, no matter which term you elect to apply for. Our online students, they are the ones who begin their programs in the summer only, so not in the fall or spring, at least not at this time. So they are beginning to process applications for summer 2025 right now. And no matter whether you're doing campus or online, you will normally complete your degree in 1 year. It's designed to be that way. It's only 24, 25 credits. So you really can't stretch it out to something like 2 years. Occasionally, we'll have a student who maybe has a handful of credits that they need to finish, and they might extend into a third semester. That does happen sometimes. But typically, our students are earning their degree and getting it done in 1 year. And as an F1 student, there is a requirement that you be a full-time student, and that means taking at least 9 credits each semester, especially fall and spring semesters. Most students take about 12 on average, but 9 is the requirement to be considered in full-time status and maintaining your F1 visa status. And a good thing about being a full-time student is that you would automatically be considered for a merit scholarship. So you don't even need to ask for it. We will just automatically consider you for that award. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit more about funding in just a moment. So that's a summary of our timeline. And I didn't mention, I don't think, when the deadline is, which I should. If you're looking for the fall semester, you would need to apply by June 1 or June 1st of that same calendar year, whereas a spring applicant should apply by November 1st of the preceding calendar year. Okay, so right now we're looking at our spring 2025 applicants, and they have until November 1st to complete their applications. All right. Oh, I did have the deadlines. Here they are. So here they are again. For summer, though, I didn't mention that one. For the online program, you need to apply by May 1st. So it gives you a lot of time, like literally 2 weeks before classes start. You might still be finishing up your application because they start typically in late May to early June. There's the fall deadline, June 1st, and then the spring deadline is November 1st. So these are somewhat soft deadlines. I like to call them priority deadlines because they will give you the most time to prepare and possibly move to the US. If you need a visa, you want to have plenty of time to go through that process and get settled in here in San Diego. So the sooner you can apply in the cycle, the better. Application package. We ask that our students apply through the Law School Admission Council, which is also known as the LSAC. So you will see that mentioned in the bullet point for the application package, point number 1. And what they do is basically process law school applications for the entire country. So all over the United States, law schools and their applicants are using this system of LSAC, the Law School Admission Council. So in the package, your application would be included with that, of course, along with a personal statement. I would say concise is nice as far as how long your personal statement is, just to let us know a little bit more about some personal aspect of yourself or what sparked your interest in law, what it is you hope to study in the LLM program or what you hope to do with the LLM degree. And it's nice if you can show that you've done your research a little bit and maybe mention if there's a course that you would like to take or a certain professor that you would like to have a class with. Those help make your application more personalized. So I would say get that in your personal statement if you can, maybe a page or two. We get a lot of applications and read a lot of personal statements. So if they go on kind of for 3 pages, 4 pages more, we may not be able to read everything or give it enough thorough consideration. So that's why I say concise is nice. Your resume, it's okay if it's more than 1 page when you're doing your application, but for professional job purposes, we would want to have it probably reduced to 1 page. But it's fine if you have a CV that's more than 1 page that you want to include. At least 1 letter of recommendation needs to be included with your package. The system will let you submit up to 4 maximum letters of recommendation. And your official law school transcript is required. So this would come directly from your school and be sent to the LSAC. So it's an online system, or sometimes transcripts are mailed in by law schools to LSAC. But basically that is needed so that a determination can be made that you have the professional law degree as defined by your home country, whether it's an LLB, if you're coming from the UK, or a master's degree if you're coming from France, that's the professional law degree there. So each country has its own standard for what the professional law degree is. So your transcript should show all the courses that you've taken and your grades and the date that your degree was conferred. And then finally, unless you are a native English speaker or perhaps come from a country where English is an official language, you will probably be submitting a TOEFL or an IELTS score to demonstrate language proficiency. We do have a TOEFL waiver available for people who have very strong English skills. But the one advantage for many of our international applicants to submitting the TOEFL or IELTS score is that it makes them eligible for exam accommodations here at USD. So what that means is they get a little extra time to complete their law school exams here. So it's like an extra 20 minutes per hour of exam time. So if a professor has scheduled a 3-hour final exam, for example, a person with these accommodations would have 4 hours to complete the same exam because it's 20 extra minutes per exam hour. So that's a nice benefit. And the applicant or the student can also have a paper translating dictionary with them during the final exam if they choose to have that. So under the stress of an exam, it can be helpful maybe to have that, Portuguese to English or French to English or Spanish to English, whatever the case may be, dictionary. So that's only if for the student who submitted the TOEFL or the IELTS score with their application. As far as scores for those, we suggest a minimum of a 93 or 9.3 for the TOEFL. And if it's the IELTS, the suggested minimum is a 7.0 or 7.0. Okay, so that's what goes into a complete application package. And I think we're ready to finish off with the fun stuff. Money, funding. Okay, so first of all, I mentioned a few moments ago, if you're a full-time applicant, we'll automatically consider you for a merit scholarship. It's a tuition discount. We don't offer full tuition waivers, but we try to be as generous as we can with the tuition discounts. And it depends on the level of funding we have any particular year, how early in the application cycle somebody has applied. So the earlier you apply, the better the chance of getting a pretty generous scholarship. If you wait late in the application cycle, it might be a little harder to get a really good scholarship, but it can still be done. That's why I say, the earlier you apply, the better. You don't need to ask for the scholarship. You'll just be considered for that as a matter of course. So if you're accepted to the program, what happens is you get your acceptance letter and you also get a scholarship letter at the same time. There are some separate outside sources for international student scholarships. For example, our host today, Postgrad Solutions, has their own LLM study bursary that you can apply for, which is a nice help to help pay for your education. Some students choose to get a loan to back up their financing. And we don't have any particular ones associated with USD, so I can't officially endorse them. I just wanted to mention one as an example called M-Power, which some students have used in the past. And I believe why it's a popular choice if you are going to go with the route of a loan is that they do not require a United States cosigner or a certain credit history or credit score in order to apply for that loan. And they offer low fixed term interest rates for their student loans and a variety of loan amounts, from as little as say $2,000 up to $50,000. So that's just another option that you may consider for funding besides your own funding and whatever might be paid for by a merit scholarship. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. I think we are now at the tail end and I would like to open it up. If we have questions from the chat or anything that's come in, maybe as a pre-submitted question, Gareth.
Excellent. Thank you, Robin. Always good to hear from you. Just while you mentioned the bursary, then I'm just going to share my screen just so that everyone else can see it also. One of the things that has kind of struck me with your offering, which is very much different to what we've heard so far across the USA, is how flexible you are with your intake dates. There's a lot of law schools which are very rigid, and I understand it's a traditional thing, but the fact that you can enter 3 times with you guys, I think I saw we saw earlier on the slides, January, June and perhaps like November, they're the application date. So is there a preference? Does it make a difference? Obviously, they're still going to get the same amount of credits. They're going to get the same education.
No.
Does it make a huge difference depending on when you actually join or not?
Not really. I would say for our campus program, the fall semester is probably always our largest entering class. The spring tends to be a little smaller, but they take the same opportunity for coursework, the same concentrations are available, same bar subjects. Probably the main thing is the size of the entering class. Scholarship consideration is the same. Maybe for commencement a little bit, it can be a little trickier. If you are a December graduate, you would be invited to come back for the big May commencement and do the walk across stage to get your diploma. So commencement is only held in May. So if you just graduated in mid-May, great, commencement's coming up a couple weeks later. But if you had graduated in December, you would need to visit us again, or maybe you're still here, with OPT or whatever you're doing to come back to do that formal commencement. If you want, commencement's not required, but it's a really nice way to cap off your program.
Inevitably, there will be people watching, whether they're watching now, whether they're watching in a month or two on demand. That will go. You mentioned the application process earlier. They go through LSAC, they go through the personal statement, the resume, and all that kind of tedious process, but needs to be done at the same time. How long can they expect it to take? And how quickly can they expect a decision? Because there will be people that will go, fine, I want to start in January. Is that
Yeah.
feasible? Or would you say, right, give yourself 4 months, six
Yeah, I
months?
would say we're right in the thick of our spring 2025 applications. So for those folks, now is a great time. It's not too late. But we try to be as efficient as possible and not keep students or potential students waiting. So our average decision time is probably about within 3 weeks of the completed application.
Excellent. And are there any things that hold it up? Typically, students will be very quick and hasty in sending
Mm.
over their application. We've heard from other law schools that say they mentioned the wrong law school and they try
Yeah.
not to hold it against them, but people do inevitably rush. But are
Yeah.
there certain things that hold it up? Visas,
Hmm.
other things that are a factor?
Yeah, the only things that I've seen that come up occasionally is maybe someone accidentally starts a JD application in the LSAC system rather than an LLM application, but that
Yeah.
could be quickly fixed. But it should be pretty clear, which category of program that you're applying for. So look for LLM. That way it gets automatically routed to us. It won't go some other destination. Once in a while, we'll have a student who has problems using LSAC, or maybe they're in a country with spotty, internet or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, or the fees that they charge for their education or transcript evaluation. Maybe the student can't afford it at that time. Our application's free, but LSAC does charge a fee to process
Yeah,
the
they do.
application.
Yeah.
So for those folks, they can apply directly to our office. We do offer that opportunity for students for whatever reason cannot apply through LSAC. That tends to slow things down just a bit when they do that. But we're still happy to accommodate as much as we can. I would
Yeah.
say another thing sometimes that happens is a letter of recommendation will be in the system with LSAC, but the student may forget to assign it. They have to click assign so that it will flow through to us. So sometimes that gets held up because the student hadn't assigned the letter.
And I would stress, if you're watching as well, if you do get stuck, reach out to Robin, reach out to whoever, the admissions team, wherever you are, whatever uni or law school you're looking to study, because they want to help. Robin's
Yeah.
there to help, and that's her job ultimately. So
Yeah, we have our school contacts in LSAC I can call them up and say, hey, I have a student so-and-so,
yeah.
and why isn't their application coming through? Or can you see an issue? And they'll tell me, they'll look it up and see.
Okay, and if we can talk about, I mean, I think we've spoken about online, or you spoke about online quite a bit, which is great. The campus and the city of San Diego, what it's like to live there. I've been to San Diego before, and it's a very, compared to the likes of San Francisco and Los Angeles, it's very subdued, it's very quiet, it's still a huge city, but it doesn't have that kind of hustle and bustle feel too much.
Yeah,
What's it like to live there? It must be great.
I love it. I mean, I've grew up and was raised in Arizona, which is a hot desert state just to the east of us. And many Arizonans would flock to San Diego to go on vacation to escape the heat. But it kind of feels like being on vacation all the time when you're living here or studying here because it's so beautiful. It's easy to get to the nice places. It's accessible, the beaches, downtown, the
Yes.
airport. I mean, Old Town, Coronado, La Jolla. We're about 10 to 15 minutes from everything great that you would want to do. So yes, we have traffic on the freeway sometimes, but most students live within a short commute, biking, walking, or driving from Pacific Beach, for example, or Mission Valley. And so we don't have the big city problems of a place like Los Angeles. But definitely that Southern California beach vibe kind of permeates
Yeah.
the atmosphere here.
And I'm sure, having, like I said, been there, you don't realize just how nice a place it is until you've been there. People were here, California, and just presume it's a lot of the big cities are all the same. But as you will know, Sacramento is different to Los Angeles, different to San Diego, very much different to San Fran. So I urge anyone that is watching to find out more about San Diego and head over to their profile page, head over to their website, because they're going to sell it better than anyone else. They live and breathe that city. So head over there. And just finally, then let's talk about the online offering that you spoke about. It doesn't have any different standing to a campus-based offering. There's this kind of myth, other than when it comes to the New York bar exam, and other bar exams as well. It doesn't have any effect. There used to be this whole, if you study online, it doesn't have the same kind of standing as it does in a campus. But that's kind of a myth now, and it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, and even though we haven't been doing the program very long yet, we have not found that to be the case. And I mean, it's growing by leaps and bounds. Our Spanish version of the program doubled from one
Yeah.
summer to the next summer, from like 20 something students up to 50 something, the most recent summer who started. And we had almost 20 starting our initial online LLM in English program. And we expect that to probably double because we want to meet students where they are. And not everybody is able to, pack up and move and come here for a year, but they'll still receive a good quality education if they do the online program. Our faculty are great. They've been getting phenomenal reviews from our students who are really enjoying their classes. I mean, I don't say that just because I teach one of the
Yeah.
classes, but I teach the intro course, but there are many, more challenging substantive courses who are taught by wonderful faculty, both in English or in Spanish, if you're a Spanish speaker. And I think the prestige level is the same. Yeah.
And presumably, because of that, it opens up to a much more dynamic and diverse student population online. Obviously, the benefits are you can study from anywhere around the world. It doesn't matter where you live, you can study online.
You can,
Presumably,
yeah.
that's increased your international cohort.
Yeah, and that can work better for some time zones than others, of course. So for now, classes are offered synchronously at a certain time of the day, like California local time might be like 5 to 7 p.m. for some classes, or 5 to 8 p.m. And you're live, you're there with your classmates
Yeah.
and the professor online. There's some discussion about maybe having some asynchronous offerings where pre-recorded lectures, but for now, we're not feeling that offers the same level of really learning and interaction that's available from the live synchronous format. So there may be some countries or regions that we can't effectively reach, or the time doesn't work for them, but for many places in the world, it's a convenient offering that they can fit into their day, whether it's their work schedule or maybe after school if they're in another school program in their home country.
Sure. Robin, thank you very, very much. I think we're going to wrap things up there. Most of our sessions over the last few weeks have been around about the same time, so we don't want to go on for too long and keep the viewers on for too long. This will be a live session, like Robin's mentioned many, many times. It will be on demand, so we will send you the slides. We will send you anything that you've missed. I urge anyone that wants to know more information to reach out to Robin. Her details will be in the email that we send, and if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to head it our way. Thank you for now. We look forward to seeing you soon. Robin, thank you again.
Thanks, everyone. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.